life, hey, yeah, project. Sipping on some syrup, I feel Canadian. City life, hey, I might specify. Hey, city life, city life. Hey, swears just a city life, city life. Hey, she living such a city life, city life. She just want a silly vibe, silly vibe. She said she just wanna have some fun tonight, fun tonight. She wanna have some fun out in the city tonight, city night. Told that hoe you wanna sip some syrup like a Canadian. City life, city life, city life. How you make your money? I said, baby, I been fight. City life, city life. Hey, shout out my boy City Life. Hey, I get done. Back over the hoe. Swear, life day to day, such a project. Living in the damn project. They wanna talk, but they obsolete to me. Talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk to me. I be cooking, I be whipping over the walk. See, walk. If you talk it, then walk it. How you talk it, then talk it. City life, hey, I might sip some syrup like a Canadian. Hey, city life, said, baby, how you make your money? I said, baby, I best fight. Best in the city life, hey. City life, I said, this bitch wanna have a city life. Roll through to the city night. I said, every sip some syrup, you gon' feel Canadian. Said, yeah, God bless America, I'm American. I said, city life.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another live picks, preview, and predictions video covering week 3 of Dana White's Contender series. We got some highlights as we go over each matchup, and though I disagree with some of the fighters getting an opportunity over others that are still active, rank higher for the ranking folks here who watch the show and who I just think are more deserving. Having said all that, any week that I'm like somewhat critical of the matchmaking, excuse me, or critical of who is deserving or not deserving based on those still available, those who didn't get the call this season or who are projected to get the call in the last couple episodes, it still could just be an absolute banger. Like, there could be finishes on every single fight. There could be some absolute wars. There also could be some meme slogfests as well. But let's just dive into it here. The first fight on this card, I'm actually somewhat excited for, and I think both guys are very much deserving of this opportunity. What is up, Baby Sharp? Good to see you. So let's dive right into the first fight here. Smash that like button if you haven't already, guys. We will be hosting a fight companion tomorrow. The stream is already posted on the channel, so subscribe, like, and we'll share it at the end of the show. All right, Nick Galanti versus Carlso Petruzzella. Petruzzella 15-1 as a pro. He's finished every single one of his opponents on a 2-fight win streak out of Argentina, versus Nick Galanti, who is just the Cage Fury FC guy from amateur all the way to now. That is where he has developed. He is 7-1 as a pro, coming in as the favorite here, -250. And 5-0 in his last of 5 fights. Galanti's 28, 4 submissions, 1 KO TKO, 2 decisions. Like I said, 7-1 as a pro, 7-1 in Cage Fury FC in his entire amateur career, which was 4-2. Took place in Cage Fury FC. He did win the Cage Fury FC amateur title, but lost it in his last pro fight against a 6-0 guy who now is 4-1 in mixed martial arts. He actually beat Phil Rowe in a grappling competition at Fury Pro Grappling 6. Came into Fury with a first round finish, and very much a wrestler. very much a grappler. His striking's actually not bad. He's got some decent low kicks. He's got some good body shots, especially like when he's in the clinch. Either use that to get out of the clinch or just find those opportunities. His cardio is really good. But yeah, he is a strong fucking wrestler and hasn't really smothered anyone in his fights. He more so loves to get the back take, which I like how he hunts submissions and he'll hunt the ground and pound. Carlso Petruzzella is also a grappling base, but realistically hasn't had a lot of success utilizing submissions and his offensive grappling against some of the better competition that he's fought recently. He was subbing guys who, he looked good subbing guys early in his career, but he was subbing guys earlier in his career who had little to no defensive prowess. By the way, pinned in the chat is the full highlights, right? We're going to keep this show moving, and some of these highlights are like 5 to 10 minutes long. So as I'm talking about the fighter, I do want to put them on screen. So let's get into Carlso Petruzzella now. Galanti's actually worked pretty good. So yeah, if you want to see more of their highlights, every single fighter on the card tomorrow. And every week I'll be posting them. Usually Sunday. Look, this week, based on some of the fighters that were selected, it took hours. Like, I think, yeah, it took hours to scrape the internet for some footage on these guys. No, dude, this is a predictions video, buddy. This is a predictions video. It says so in the title and in the thumbnail, my man. All right, Carlso Petruzzella, 15-1 as a pro. People were asking me last week about this too. Plus 185. He's only had one loss. He got knocked out back in May of 2025. Got caught with an overhand right by a very talented and undefeated at the time, Joseleton Santos, who had 5 knockouts in his pro MMA career. And that was actually in his only LFA fight. He's fought primarily in Samurai Fight House. Has won titles at both 185 and 170. Fought in Cam as well, and that's what I'm saying, like Kimura and armbar early in his career. But in his first 4 fights, 4 first-round finishes, 3 submissions, 1 knockout, and then just continued the trend. Not necessarily only in the first round, but continued the finish trend there. Again, grappling base, as you can see, he's got some good jiu-jitsu. He's got some KO power. I'd say he's more scrappy on the feet. Tough. Galanti's never been finished, but Petruzzella's only been finished once. I think I am going to go with Galanti in this one, though. I think it won't stay on the feet enough for it to get crazy and scrappy like this. I think in the battle of the grapplers, Galanti is just more polished, especially for mixed martial arts. I think Galanti will probably get the back take eventually, and if he doesn't get the rear naked choke, he'll either win a dominant decision or maybe towards the end, depending on the gas tank of Petruzzella, maybe be able to get him in a position where he can ground and pound him. But love watching Petruzzella fight. And look, I have doubted some Samurai Fight House guys before, because let's be honest, for the most part, you ain't fighting the highest level of competition in Samurai Fight House. Yet a lot of them have been able to come over to the Ultimate Fighting Championship or Contender Series and have looked just fine. I mean, Kevin Vallejos being one of them. What's up, Scott? What's up, Blomdog? What's up, Baby Sharp? It is tomorrow, buddy. It is tomorrow, every Tuesday. My live stream is already set up. You can go and give it a like. And we'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Let's get to the next fight here, ladies and gentlemen. We got Ronald Humphrey against Alexis Miranda. Miranda's 9-2 on a 2-fight win streak, 27 years of age, yet a pretty big underdog coming into this one. Everyone is very high on Ronald Humphrey. His father was a pro MMA fighter as well. And though he was only, we'll look into it in a second, though he had a small amateur career and he's very, very new to pro mixed martial arts, he's been surrounded around professional competition his whole life. He wrestled growing up And the UFC is clearly very high on him. Now, I'm going to say this right away before we dive into it. I think Ronald Humphrey is an excellent fighter. I personally, again, selfishly personal fan here, obviously take your money, Humphrey. I'm not saying this is a wrong decision unless you get brutally knocked out in the first round. But like, at least one more fight or two more fights in, the span of 8 to 9 months, and then just secure your ticket without even having to go through Contender Series. That I'm wary that he didn't choose that developmental path, but am I wary of that choice against the likes of Alexis Miranda, who's a fine fighter in his own right? Not the worst. That's what I'm saying. I know what the UFC is doing with this one. For Ronald Humphrey and the UFC's sake, let's hope this is not like the best showing of Alex Miranda's career, because he could make it difficult for Ronald Humphrey. But let's get into the career ender here first, ladies and gentlemen. Not a lot of footage on him, but hey, we got a little bit here. We got a little bit here. Like I said, 4-0 as a pro. And yeah, you probably guessed it. All finishes. First round, second round, and first round. Now, 3 of them have been from just standing knockouts and just knocks the guy down, gets one more punch, and the ref ends it. So they'll officially go down as standing punches by strikes. And he has 1 KO TKO and 1 where he was able to get in the top position and finish from mount. He's only seen the second round once. He's never seen the third round, as he went 4-0 as an amateur, snatching the NFC amateur title. And he has 4 straight first round knockouts in his amateur career. He's out of American Top Team Atlanta. And yeah, wrestling background, looks good on the feet, been ending careers. He's been ending careers before they've started. So very much understand why the UFC is very excited on this prospect, and he's incredibly fun to watch. It's just, he doesn't have a lot of cage time. That's just the thing. He doesn't have a lot of cage time. And if he does look really good in this fight, get a contract, it's just going to be interesting to see another guy develop in the UFC. It's going to be interesting to see, again, if he wins this fight, how they will manage his development. I don't know what else to say. He's a dangerous fucking striker who's actually pretty damn good on the ground, especially with his wrestling. Jiu-jitsu will continue to round out for sure. He's 25 years of age, but nasty, nasty striking and nasty kickboxing as well. Hey, no worries, Baby Sharp. No worries. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will be posting timestamps right after the stream, guys. Timestamps right after the stream. Yeah, he's great, dangerous, but maybe a little bit too early for major organization. Would love to see a couple more fights in the regional scene, or at least one more. But hey, I don't think this is going to be his biggest challenge. He's a solid wrestler, but has not shown too much of it other than literally the clips I was able to find here in that one fight. And that was, I believe this one was an amateur fight against Kimbo. Actually, I have it up here. Kimball was... Okay, that was his second pro fight. Whatever. Yeah, due to KOs or knockdowns and falling down for ground and pound, that's the reason we just haven't seen much of his scrambles or him being tested on the ground at all, which, hey, is not a bad thing on the come up. His striking defense, you could say, maybe is lacking, but I honestly think it's just because he's been so aggressive. Now, he's young and obviously confident, so will he face some adversity and maybe that's a hole that will be exposed? Perhaps. Having said that, I think maybe sometimes it looks a little sloppy because, as you can see here, he's just fucking going for it and his pressure is insane. All right. I also posted all these guys' highlights on Twitter as well. Let's take a look at Alexis Miranda next, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm going to be cutting some of these highlights a little short here because some of them go pretty long, but I have posted the full highlights on YouTube. There's timestamps there, and I posted every single one individually on Twitter. At City Life MMA on Twitter. Alexis Miranda. If you had more fights in Luke's, I'd be more confident with him. A little personal bias to this preview video. Love Luke's as one. I love watching Luke's more than the UFC personally. But anyways, 9-2 for Alexis Miranda. 4 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 4 decisions, and he's only lost twice via decision, so he's never been finished. 6-1 in UWC. That's where he primarily fought. He had 2 fights in Luke's. He lost 1 split decision back in 2022, and he lost a unanimous decision against Anwar Alberto, which honestly, Anwar Alberto may be he may be a Nabil Anane lookalike, but he's not technically sound, and realistically, for him to get highlights and for him to have a record that's 9-2, Luke's gives him some favorable matchups. So the fact that he lost to him, it's not a good look for Alexis Miranda as early as 2025. I mean, the last guy that he beat was friggin'... Anyways, we will have to go into... put it this way. Alberto, if he was... Given his size, if he was that much of a good fighter, he would have been invited to the Contender Series or just signed by a major organization by now. He has really good distance striking. His boxing, it's good. I just feel like he doesn't pull the trigger enough or isn't as aggressive, which again, against Humphrey could really, really hurt him. I just feel like he leaves more to be desired. He leaves more to be desired in some of his fights. Technically, grappling is fine. He's good everywhere. And I would say not necessarily great, but somewhat better than good in striking. Like striking, I would say based on watching is more of like his bread and butter. But as you can see here, does have grappling. A well-rounded regional fighter who excels more in the striking. I don't know how many more different ways I can say that. It doesn't really matter. Low volume distance striker. I feel like he could have higher volume. I feel like he would succeed more in fights if he upped the volume a little bit, because yeah, I like his kickboxing. Doesn't have the best takedown defense either, and seems sometimes comfortable on his back. And I haven't seen many scrambles to escape back takes or fighters just hanging out in half guard or full guard. So anyways, I am going with Ronald Humphrey on this one. But like I said, I would have liked to see him, maybe like, I don't know if it's possible, but like given where everything is right now, but like LFA, Cage Fury FC level, title fight, or top contenders fight, or top of the organization fight, 1 or 2 more. But hey, they're high on him. We know why. He's likely going to win this one. I'm just more interested, to be honest, to see how they develop him. Again, assuming he can get past Alexis Miranda, which I think he will. And I think he will serve Alexis Miranda his first TKO knockout or TKO loss in his mixed martial arts career. Yo, what's up, sis? Good to see you. All right, let's get to this next one, because I know, Chris Cushman, good to see you as well. I know Chris Cushman is super high on... Well, I don't know if you're high on both these guys. I feel like most guys are high on Gary Balletto. Not necessarily to win the fight, but just because he's a fucking dog. Oops. There we go. We got Sean Clancy Jr., the one. Bro thinks he's Neo against Batman. Gary Balletto. 11-3 for the bare knuckle FC fighter, amateur kickboxer, professional boxer, and CES 2-division champ. Yo, you did not need to do that. Do you train UFC? Bro, what did I tell you last week? This is a preview video. $10 donation from Chris Cushman. Dude, thank you so much. This is a fucking preview video, and I ain't fucking MMA experts. I ain't MMA guru. I ain't fucking... Everybody and their dog is doing a fucking prediction video here. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I'm literally going to be buying alligator bites and a fucking foot-long egg roll at the state fair with that shit. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chris Cushman, for the $10. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. Your boy Sean Clancy Jr. 8-0 as a pro, undefeated, coming into this one as the huge favorite. Before we get into Gary Balletto, his wild, interesting, and also like inspiring career in the cage and ring, let's talk about the prospect here out of Scotland. He's 23 years of age. And guys, I don't know if there's a prospect who has recently developed before our eyes so like soundly. Honestly, like Sean Clancy Jr. has been just that. This is a welterweight fight. He is undefeated, and he started out as a grappler. He went 8-1 as an amateur. He did snatch one amateur title, and he lost to a 7-2 guy when he was 7-0. Came in to pro mixed martial arts, fought in Budo Fighting Championship, so went right to fucking Mexico. Unity Fighting Championship, then to Cage Warriors, where he primarily leaned on his wicked jiu-jitsu, wicked grappling early, and then started to test his boxing, started to test his kickboxing, started to test out his well-rounded game that he continued to work on in training, and obviously getting some reps, being pretty active in the cage. He doesn't have any decisions though, which is crazy. 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, 0 decisions. It started off his pro career and most of his amateur career submitting guys. I mean, he has a buggy choke on the amateur as well. Doesn't have any. He has one TKO and 1 referee stoppage in his first 2 ever amateur fights. And then it was just a submission fest and, you know, some decisions. And then as a pro, primarily leaned on his grappling to get into positions where he could get TKOs. And then once he came into Cage Warriors, really leaned on his grappling for the first 3 fights. And then just kind of went all in on boxing for a little bit. Ended up getting a nasty body shot finish in 2024. And then just has put it all together very, very nicely. So Sean Clancy Jr. has been really, really fun to watch. So I'm glad he's getting this opportunity in Contender Series. I mean, his is one of the longer highlight packages here, guys. So I'm going to switch over to the next one, but I highly recommend you guys check out the week 3 highlights. Again, it's pinned in the chat here. And if you're watching after this went live, there will be a comment with the link in it as well. But let's get to Gary Balletto, which what a career. And just a wild and unique career for Balletto. I mean, like I got boxing highlights in this. I got boxing highlights in this because he hasn't fought MMA for I think over a year, and he did have like a side quest in boxing. Now, for those who don't know, Gary Balletto was in a really like tragic like training accident where he almost was like fully paralyzed from his chest down for many years. He was able to rehab and actually come back and fight, which is wild. He's 11-3 as a pro in mixed martial arts, but he's been more active in boxing and BKFC as of late. He's 31 years of age, 4 KO TKOs, 7 submissions, 0 decisions. So despite being primarily a striker, he's a well-rounded regional champion. Now, CES, he's 11-3 in CES. Even when CES was back when it was on Fight Pass, it was one of the most low-level regional promotions in North America. And it still kind of is, but like I'm not trying to say that to be disrespectful. I'm just saying that to highlight it. He's a 2-division champ, and the best guy he beat in a title fight was a 7-4 and 5-3 guy, respectfully. I mean, he won the title off an 8-8 guy. So that's just CES, baby. That's just CES. But yeah, he fought boxing throughout his career. He fought recently bare knuckle boxing, his last 3 fights, 2 in 2025, 1 in March of 2026. He's been fighting in BKFC, and he actually turned down a BKFC extension for this Dana White Contender Series opportunity. He technically still is I don't know if it's welterweight or middleweight, I think, or was it 155? Regardless, I don't know what belt he still has in CES. Probably, let's see, it's probably the one he won the most recent. So yeah, he's probably still the welterweight champ. So if it doesn't work out in this fight, he could potentially go and defend that in MMA, or maybe we'll see if BKFC, if they're not salty, will bring him back. But anyways, has been on some side quests while this prospect has been on the rise and developing quite nicely. I'm going with Sean Clancy Jr. on this one. I don't think there's much surprise. BJJ and grappling base that he used early, but really started to round out his game. He actually has some really good boxing. He's really quick, actually. He might even be quicker than Gary Balletto. Quick hands, quick movement, and he's fucking strong. Balletto, like I said, BKFC and boxer most recently, yet fights more like Artem Lobov in the cage. I'm being perfectly honest. Like, he keeps his hands wide, kind of like, he keeps them wide, not super low, but wide and kind of like mid-range, and he swings hooks more than he jabs. So he's not the quickest. His stance is more wide than square. He doesn't throw many kicks. And it's just interesting. You'd think he'd be, as a boxer, I'm actually like, in the clinch, I'm more excited to see what Sean Clancy Jr. has with the dirty boxing than even Gary Balletto, because in his last few boxing fights, it's just like a unique style for sure, and it worked, and he won boxing titles. But in mixed martial arts, it just, like I said, Artem Lobov is how I kind of describe his game. He has some decent takedown defense, but mostly the sprawl. I think he's really good at sprawling. Scrambling, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, like I said, 2-division CS champion, low-level league, well-rounded, but with the Artem Lobov type MMA style, which is fun to watch for the most part. Like I said, unreal story, though. Coming back from potentially being paralyzed for life from the chest down. Not quick, but wild hooks, and he can catch you. He can submit low-level wrestlers, low-level submission guys as well. There's no way he submits Sean Clancy unless he like cracks him and jumps on his back or something like that. In my opinion. Anyways, again, full highlights. They're on the channel, pinned in the chat here, and it'll be in the description and on the comments if you're watching this later. By the way, if you do have to run, there will be timestamps, ladies and gentlemen. There will be timestamps. And again, a big thank you.
That shit beautiful than a motherfucker.
To Chris Cushman for the $10, man, on a fucking preview video too. Appreciate it. All right. One of the fights that I just rolled my eyes at. Look, I know heavyweight ain't great globally, but shit, man. I know Uriel even fought in LFA, but there's other options. There's other options. I wonder what the UFC is so keen on in regards to these two guys, but I guess we'll find out. We got Mario Piazzon against Guilherme Uriel. Both of these guys, Dana White Contender Series rejects. Uriel got TKO'd by Josh Hockett last year. And 3 years ago, Alexander Soldaukin got disqualified by illegally kneeing. Oh, shit. I said his name.
Not allowed to say his name here or on the Real Horizon Discord.
Oh, what a crazy timeline this would have been. Like honestly, chat, if Soldaukin, god damn it, Isha.
Nope. Not allowed to say his name here or on the Real Horizon Discord.
If he would have somehow made it, the fighter who we don't speak his name of, who's single-handedly destroying Ryzen's heavyweight division, not in a good way, like sinking the heavyweight division because he's awful. If he would have been in the UFC, I swear, wars in the world would not be going down right now. The butterfly effect is real. The butterfly effect is real. Yeah, I mean, let's just dive into this, chat. Let's just dive into this slop of a heavyweight fight. Now, someone is probably still going to get finished. It's probably going to be Mario Piazzon, because if Uriel doesn't finish you, he kind of gasses, and then Piazzon kind of gasses too, and he just lays on his opponent. But let's take a look at Mario Piazzon. Yeah, facts. The Baby Sharp facts. He knows it. Oh... This was, I mean, there were a few guys where it was hard to find highlights, and Mario Piazzon was one of those, ladies and gentlemen. He certainly was one of those. 28 years of age. 10-1. Kind of 10-2, let's be honest, because the fighter who we don't speak his name, he fucked him up. He was fucking him up in the fight, and he fucked him up before kneeing him on the ground, which should be real. The unified rules are a joke. 7 KO TKOs. He also got knocked out recently in Thunder fights against a 15-39 guy. Dude, I almost just want to add that to the highlights, but I didn't. He got knocked down the first round. He got caught bad by a 15-39 unk at Thunder Fight 47. He did bounce back with the second round finish against a blob of a man. He got him down, laid on him for the first round, got him down again, and was able to smother him. Literally, that highlight is in here, and I had to cut it in half. Like, it was like 3 minutes of blobbing around before he finally got the finish. So I just cut. There was nothing going on until he finally finished him. And I think it was more from suffocation. He did beat an okay 9-4 Andre Vieira in Chuto Brazil recently, but didn't look like a threat in the fight. Just mostly won via control time. And he did knock him out, though, back in 2024 at CFC in the second round. He has a ton of fights also, one of which in 2024, one of which in 2023, which are ineligible for his official record, and in demo fight, which might be one of the lowest level organizations in Brazil. He was the champion, and he defended his title twice. Once against a guy making his debut, and once against an 11-17 guy. Yeah. He went 6-0 in his first 6 fights. 5 of those wins being first round finishes. But again, this is how he won those fights. Look at this. Look at this, chat. Okay. These are the guys that like Asplin, Peterson, Guzzi are fucking up at Mystic Lake, which I'm going to, by the way, LFA returning to Mystic Lake in literally a month's time. So anyways, Mario Piazzon has been able to put some wins together since losing to He Who Must Not Be Named. And yeah, he's getting another shot here. I mean, Red's our boy from Brazil. Is demo fight not one of like the lower end non-smoker fight leagues out there? Last demo fight event was in the middle of a shopping center. Don't know if you saw. Okay, well, that answers my question. That answers my question. Yup. That is awesome. Oh, that is awesome. That answers the question, chat. That answers the question. Guilherme Uriel, the better of the two. I think that is fair. He has a 1-round gas tank, but has actually, I follow him on Instagram, funny enough. He has been working out like crazy. So he is looking more like a fit heavyweight athlete, which is good to see. Having said that, I haven't seen it help his cardio yet because he kind of goes balls to the wall in the first round. Like, you know, the heavyweights that we like to watch. The thing is, if he can't take Piazzon out of it quick and does gas, Piazzon might just lay on him for round 2 and 3. He's 7-2 as a pro, minus 250. He's getting another shot as well. I will say a positive thing about him is he was able to defend Josh Hockett's takedowns. He was able to defend Josh Hockett's takedowns and forced that fight primarily on the feet, where Josh Hockett fucked him up. That fight did go into the second round, and I was pleasantly surprised. I remember I went back and even watched my reaction to that fight because I remember at the time being pleasantly surprised at his defense early in the fight until he got absolutely destroyed and, you know, gasses as he would anyways. He did bounce back with a beautiful, beautiful finish, which you just saw in LFA. Mind you, it was against a 2-2 guy. Not the craziest resume. I do like how he developed in LFA. Right? Like they developed this guy. He was on all the LFA Brazil cards. I think one in North America as well. He's got decent boxing. His grappling's really good. He's got some heel hooks. He's got some nasty scrambles to get just on his feet to finish fights like this, or to get into mount or posture up in half guard. I do think there's some potential in Uriel. It's just like far from like the LFA champ, far from beating the highest level heavyweight guys in Brazil and or in North America. but he had a okay round defensively against Josh Hawkett, so they're bringing him back. It's one of the best parts of Brazilian MMA. So many fights, no matter where they fight. True. It is true. They bounce all over the place. And there are so many promotions in Brazil. There's so many promotions in Brazil. Yeah, I'm going with Uriel. I think, as most of you are. I don't think I swung on a single underdog today. I didn't. I think at the end of the show, I guess I'll just say what if there was like vote in the poll question. I'm curious to see where you guys land on it as well. There's none that I would even really swing on for picks or if I gamble. Other than I guess the main event, because if you see boxing odds and mixed martial arts, you kind of have to because Shannon Clark happened, right? Shannon Clark happened. Let's get to the main event here. Speaking of women's MMA, let's get to the main event here. Wait, hold on. Do I have anything else to say on Guilherme? I don't think so. Literally because he showed he has some takedown defense is why they brought him back. Hits harder, better shape. His opponent will take down to smother and maybe get ground and pound. Not a great or threatening striker. Now they have great cardio, but Piazzon is used to taking nap. I literally wrote this. Taking naps on his opponents to secure control time. So many better heavyweights on the regionals and international scene. All right, there we go. Just need one last dig to that matchup, which is likely going to end in like a crazy first round finish, and everyone's going to be like, "You shut the fuck up." I mean, heavyweight MMA, it's a hit or a miss, right? Look at last week's near perfect mixed martial arts card, or near perfect UFC card, which would in turn be a mixed martial arts card, which was only soured by the co-main event. All right, Bellamir versus Alex Apodaca. Apodaca. Apodaca, by the way, is 3-1 as a pro. She fought 3 weeks ago. I mean, both of them were taking this fight on relatively short notice. Bellamir is just game and ready to go. She had to fight, 4 weeks ago. She had to fight 4 weeks ago against a 3-1 gal. She's 3-1 as a pro, 4-1 in her last 5, including amateur, and she's a big underdog in this one. She does train out of a good gym, and honestly, I watched tape on her, and we're going to go over it here, and I was like, she's not that bad. It just sucks she's going up against the girl that the UFC have been not only helping Frank Mir develop as a professional athlete, not just an MMA fighter, but as a professional athlete, but who Dana White cannot stop talking about weeks leading up to this fight. Frank Mir's daughter is here, ladies and gentlemen. Started fighting in mixed martial arts at 16 years of age as an amateur. I think had her first pro fight at 17. Is a college wrestler who has that rich NIL money from the Ultimate Fighting Championship. She competes in UFC BJJ. She's been obviously doing jiu-jitsu and grappling and wrestling her whole career, but unlike her father, who was one-dimensional coming into the sport and then, had to round out his game while he was fighting professionally. I mean, she's coming in as a well-rounded mixed martial artist with the Mir regiment experience, the UFC push, and she specializes in what her father did and probably a little bit more polished for this era as well. So there's a lot of expectations on Bellamir here, and she's got them Shannon Clark odds in her favor. But before we get to Bellamir, let's just talk about what I was impressed about in regards to Alex. Now, originally, who was she supposed to fight? Originally, Bellamir, and again, this wasn't official, but originally it was said that she was going to fight Olivia Byerly, who is a very, very good prospect on the Fury FC scene. She could have either fought on Contender Series, she might still this season, or for the Fury FC title. She's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu base fighter who is now just absolutely scrapping chicks and is very marketable. Go check out her Instagram. You'll know what I mean. But yeah, so that it was never official and it fizzled out. And then Bellemere ends up getting the call to be on Contender Series a few weeks. And this is her opponent who took the call after just fighting not too long ago. But as you can see here, she's a striker primarily, distant striker who has been able to grapple her opponents at times, but it's usually end of a round, usually the second or third, and she's not doing much, and with it more just getting some control time at the end of the round, scoring a little bit so that it doesn't get stood up. And it's not like the takedowns are impressive either. It's more just like dragging her opponents to the ground from the cage. Distance striking is actually really good, but just doesn't have the power, despite being big for the division, to be that much of a threat. She doesn't have a single finish in her pro mixed martial arts career. But like sound technique, just not super quick, not super dangerous. And that was probably the best takedown she's ever gotten in her career. So like just going up against someone with not only the hype that Bellemere has, but just the skills. And Bellemere, again, she's 23. So like the UFC could have signed her early, a la Paige Van Zandt, or some of these other prospects that they've been bringing in like right out of high school, but no. Made sure went to college, got some amateur fights and pro fights under her belt. So excited to see what she will bring. And here's some of her highlights from mixed martial arts. Bellemere. It's crazy that we got so many second gen, just like I'm seeing second gen players in hockey, right? Like the Kachuk kids after seeing Big Walt play as a kid. Literally followed Frank's entire career growing up. And now his daughter's here to potentially be as dominant and a champ in her own right. Her last competition was in UFC BJJ, where she got an armbar finish in June. Before then, she had a BJJ match and got a decision in December. She fought in RA. It's not fought. She wrestled in RAF, but she lost a decision. So she actually hasn't fought mixed martial arts since July of 2025, where she got a first round Kimura Fury Challenger Series. She's been super just active in UFC BJJ, where she had she was on the first UFC BJJ card where she got a Darce choke finish in the second round, and she was in Fury Pro Grappling before them, where she got a first round armbar. Yeah, mixed martial arts has been just due to being NCAA wrestler, I think training with the national team, as well as doing UFC BJJ. She fought in mixed martial arts in 2020. I guess she actually never had an amateur fight. She went right into pro, mixed martial arts wise. So she fought twice in Icon, so Jorge Masvidal's league, before it went bare knuckle. She got a decision in her first fight, first round rear naked choke in her second. And then 2022, so then took a year off. 2022, got a first round armbar, and then started doing grappling between 2024 and 2025. Snuck in a mixed martial arts fight there, and this will be her first MMA fight back since 2025, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going with Bellemere. Despite the layoff from mixed martial arts, she has been so active in competitive grappling, and you've got to imagine that she's obviously still just rounding out her game and developing here. Yeah, it was two really good prospects who can't really do much more in their respective league going at it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my picks. I didn't swing on any underdog here today. If I had to pick one, it would be Petruzzella. Maybe Miranda. Sean Clancy Jr., the Apex light's going to be too big for him. I don't think so. So yeah, those are my picks, ladies and gentlemen. Reminder, we'll be live tomorrow for a Fight Companion, and we'll be live tomorrow for the Ultimate Fighter watch party. Wednesday, we will be live for a preview just like this, with highlights like this as well, for Road to UFC semifinals. So excited for Road to UFC semifinals. We did a ton of coverage for the first round. I posted 2 supercuts that were over an hour and a half long, and every single fighter's highlight package. It was insane. We did a preview show for the back-to-back shows, and we did fight companions for those shows as well. We will be doing a fight companion for the show instead of Friday fights this Friday morning at like 4 a.m., and I'll be doing a preview show on Wednesday. The only day I'm not going to be streaming or posting content for you guys this week is Thursday. I'm going to the Minnesota State Fair. I don't think it's the first time an Uber Eats driver has tried to have a fight at Barstool Sports. That sounds like a weekly occurrence for those folks. Sounds like a weekly occurrence for the Barstool gang. I just got some of Big Cat's coffee. It's actually really good. The one that a good chunk of the profits go to animal shelters across America. I mean, one of my go-to like hockey podcasts is Barstool one, and there's so many fucking crazy stories. Especially early, or like when the podcast started and they had more just Barstool guests on there, it was just insane. I think definitely a pizza delivery guy, but I don't know about an Uber Eats driver. I think a Chinese delivery guy too at one point. I'll have to find the episode. Speaking of episodes, we'll be live for episode 3 tomorrow, guys. So go and like this stream. We will be posting timestamps for this stream literally right after the show. So in like 2 minutes. And if you Dana White Contender Series is this, guys, come on, Amberly. This is the preview show. It's on every Tuesday. It says in the title, preview. It says in the thumbnail. No worries, Amberly. No worries. This is the show that you don't necessarily have to watch live. It's more just previewing the matchups, previewing the fighters, and I just share some of the highlights of each of the fighters as well. Tomorrow will be the show. Every Tuesday. I think it's been on Wednesday like a few times, but like assume it's Tuesday. It literally used to be in the name. Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, I think, was the OG name of the show. Then I dabbled with some Wednesday, and they're like, no, back to Tuesday. And speaking of the Tuesday Night Contender Series, every single fighter highlight I posted here. We got one more episode of Tough, which I will post the highlights of the fight. We post crazy stories in the world of mixed martial arts. I got a huge show. Oh yeah, but it's not going anywhere. I don't take it off of YouTube. If anything, I make it easier for you guys as I add timestamps. So don't worry, Amberly. If you miss it, you'll be able to check it out. Again, tomorrow we'll be live for Contender Series. I'll be posting my full schedule. Hopefully tonight. We'll see how much more I'm online here tonight after I finish some work stuff, send out the last few emails, get the last little bit of prep done. I'll try to sneak a workout in while there's still some blue sky. But I'm very excited for the Ultimate Fighter watch party tomorrow, and then Wednesday, Road to UFC is back, and we'll have the full preview show for that. Namo Fazil is on the UFC app. Maybe they signed him. I don't think they signed him. I don't know why they would sign him. Hey, I'm good, MJ. I'm good. He got knocked out on Contender Series. They're not going to sign him anytime soon. They might sign him if they're in need of a fighter in a pinch, if he's living in a country near where they are. Likely, if he doesn't sign a big deal with PFL/MVP or or honestly back in UAE Warriors, because they'll probably pay him decent coin, then maybe he comes back in Contender Series next year. His record is updated there. Is there hope? I mean, sure, there's hope. I mean, hey, I don't know what everyone's fascination was with him. Like, was like literally until week of. It's kind of like when Andrew Tate came out of nowhere. It was like, who the fuck is this guy again? And then everyone just knew who this guy was. I I watched him fight maybe once or twice before. I guess the MVP card got a lot of people in North America really excited about him. I mean, look, man, he's a good striker and a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. Could he bounce back? Sure. I don't fucking know. I don't know any of his team members. I don't even follow him on social media. I thought he was a pretty good striker with solid takedown defense, and he got caught. I think I think a major organization is going to pay him. That's why I keep saying to everybody, I don't know if the UFC is going to bring him in because I think the offers are already on his table. I think the offers are already on his table, you know? I don't know why MVP/PFL aren't giving him an offer right now. I don't know why UAE Wars is not giving him an offer right now. You got to imagine that they are. I don't think it's a good look for the UFC to sign guys on a show where you have to win or be exciting to get a contract, but get brutally knocked out and then be given a contract. Down when the dust settles, and if they need someone and maybe even he gets a win after, and then they just sign him right to the UFC. Oh yeah, we've seen that before. But I don't think he gets signed until if they do sign him. I don't think they sign him until the season's done. And I do wish him all the best. I'll be perfectly honest. I was more of a Brito fan going in, just because I'd watched more of Brito's career and I follow a lot of Octagon. But I didn't see that coming. He's not signed. Marcel is the only source I trust. I thought this was absolutely hilarious. Baby looks like, and oh my god, what did you gotta what? Now I gotta look up what she looks like. I can't chat. Oh my. The internet is running with this one, by the way. Literally top KO of the year right now for you. I love his trash dog. He's very good at selling fights. Plus, he's a good striker, like you said. Yeah, but he lost. So MJ. So you think if a fighter goes on a show, that's similar to when Tough had the fights to get into the house. Okay? Let's just look at it through that lens. You think if a fighter who is fighting to get into the Tough house or a fighter who is fighting for a contract not only loses, but gets brutally knocked out. I repeat, brutally knocked out. Like one of the most brutal knockout losses in 2026 on the global sphere, not just the UFC brand, but the global mixed martial arts sphere. You think that because of what got him there, he deserves a contract? If he didn't go on the show that primarily the story of the show and the goal of the show and the rules of the show is you have to win to get the contract or at least not get brutally knocked out. I don't understand. And you're not the only one who's brought this up. That's why I'm kind of going hard in the paint right now. I have no idea why fans think it's okay to get brutally knocked out on Contender Series, yet still get signed to the Ultimate Fighting Championship while the season is still going on. To me, that makes absolutely no sense. Again, now it's going to sound like I'm hating on the guy. I don't give a shit. Like, I am apathetic. I think he's a fun fighter. I wish him all the best in his career. But on whether it's fair or not fair that he gets signed to the Ultimate Fighting Championship after getting absolutely brutally knocked out Makes zero sense. Zero sense. If fans cared that much about getting him into the UFC, they should have straight up filled his DMs on Twitter and said, do not go on Contender Series because you might get knocked out and you won't be able to get signed until probably 2027. If you still want to go to the UFC, you might have to get a tune-up fight after that. And I'd say the same thing to Brito. Brito gambled more. Yeah, nobody's talking about that. Octagon said, you're never coming back. You vacate the title, we're never allowing you to come back. Your fans are like, oh my God, Fazil got knocked out. We want to see him in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. I hope we see him in a major organization again. I got to get this off screen because it's so unserious and I'm so serious right now. I have no hate towards this guy at all. I was apathetic throughout his, coming into this. And you know what? The fight was close until he got brutally knocked out. If it would have gone to the third round, maybe they signed them both. But man, the UFC didn't even sign fucking Mike Aswell after his crazy fight against Bogdan Grad. He had to he had to defend his title again before he was brought back. So I don't know. I got the same sad feeling when Topuria lost. I hate when super competent fighters lose. Oh my gosh, they didn't lie that she does look like Anthony Smith. If they can see the potential and recognize he's really good, plus he got caught, not necessarily outclassed, maybe they sign him. Then you know what? If they do, fuck Contender Series. It's a stupid show. It's a stupid show as far as the premise of the show. They may as well just call it UFC All-Stars, right? We'll just sign whoever the fuck we want, but here's 10 and 10 to jump on this show. Because what's fun about the show, what separates it from all the other UFC content brand stuff is you have to impress that night to get a contract. That's why various managers and some agents sometimes tell fighters, you know what? Maybe Contender Series is not the best route to the UFC. Because if you get brutally knocked out, that might ruin your stock in their eyes for that particular show because you knew what you were getting yourself into. It was lethal. If he can see potential, plus he recognizes Brito is good and he got caught on stereo outclass, that's why I believe they sign him. If you think they sign him based off that, that's crazy. On that particular show, crazy to me. Crazy to me. Do I think, again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Do I think he will be signed to a major organization? Yes. Do I think he's major organization level? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I said MVP and PFL, UAE Warriors, shoot, probably even some others behind the scenes. I've probably offered him, despite getting brutally knocked out, more money than the UFC is even going to offer him based off that. You think the UFC is going to offer him anything more than 12 and 12 off of that? They're not, brother. Not yet, anyways. Not until this season ends. And they're looking for fighters to fill up fights in certain regions, or he's potentially still on their list of guys who, if he's still not signed to a major organization or has a long-term contract, they can maybe pick up in a few months. But I don't know. Bad look on the UFC if they do sign him right away. Bad look on the UFC if they do sign him right away. I think he was on his way to lose a 29-28 before he got... So it was a... I'm not saying he got dominated in the fight. I say he lost via brutal knockout and he got brutally knocked out. Won't be able to catch the first part of the Contender Series live tomorrow, so I have to avoid spoilers. I was so happy when he got KO'd. I was contaminated from happiness the whole week. Islam Makhachev got caught by a very average fighter. Imagine if it was on Contender Series and they never signed him. Well, then it's a good thing he didn't go to Contender Series. And you know, I think that's a slap in the face to how good Islam Makhachev is. Because Islam Makhachev would have put good wins together in any league that he was in to earn his way back to the UFC. Sometimes they want to give a guy a contract after they want a Contender Series. Well, yes, that's what I'm saying, but yes. Some, but not literally a week or two after. I think go back to those decisions immediately. Like I'm saying, like sometimes they give contracts after like, yeah. I think that he probably has to get at least one more win. It could be against like a 9-6 guy. It could be against, you know, someone worse than the guy he fought MVP PFL. Yo, this guy is so popular. He gets brutally knocked out and the fans are still talking about him. Sometimes you get caught part of the game. Islam is a rare case. And Armin. It was a great fight. And I love you, MJ, by the way. But I guess I underestimated how popular he was with MMA fans. And this is why I'm not a real MMA channel. This is why I'm not a real MMA channel. Because real MMA channels would be picketing for Fazil to be signed. All right, guys, that's it for me here tonight. I will see you guys back tomorrow for Dana White Contender Series watch party, as well as an Ultimate Fighter watch party. I have no idea what time I'm doing the Ultimate Fighter one yet, but it'll either be in the morning or it will be late at night. Nowhere in between. And then Wednesday, likely probably around this time. So Wednesday night, we'll be doing a Road to UFC preview as well. Yeah, I think... Yeah, I vehemently disagree with you. Like I want to make it very clear. Like I think that if the UFC is going to sign guys after getting brutally knocked out, then just scrap the show. It doesn't matter. That's how passionate I am on that. Because then why even have the show, right? They took fighters. They took fights to get into the house off the show because they didn't need them anymore. If that's the way that the fans want Contender Series, then fuck Contender Series. Just sign the fighters. Why even make this a fun night, a nail-biting night, if it doesn't matter? That's all I'm saying. Smash that like button and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.
In the fiercest battle